Hello everyone, Johnny here. Today in this session we will try to learn how to calculate the age of a person. For suppose if the user has given an input of date, month and year, we should able to print the age of the current age of a particular individual. In JavaScript, in order to calculate the age, time, date, we have a built-in object called date. It provides all the methods for date and time management. Let us jump into the basics so that we can understand how to solve this. First one, in order to print date, time and complete format, we have something called date. Here new of date is used to create a date object with current date and time. By default it will try to use from our system's date, in the sense from our browser date. Let me check the output of the snippet. If we can see this, it is let me save, sorry. Now if we can see the snippet, you got Thursday, October 8, 9:15 Indian Standard Time. So it will try to display in the format of an Indian Standard Time. In order to create this date constructor, we have 4 ways. First one, we can write new of date. Next one, we can write new of date of year, month, milliseconds, dates, so on till milliseconds. Next one, we can write new of date of milliseconds. There are 4 multiple ways in order to create this date constructor, but in this session we will try to use the first format. In order to access the date components, we have a set of methods. For suppose I want to print today's date. If I want to print today's date, how can I write? See here, as we have already written, for example let me write cc or else variable cd equal to new of date, in the sense current date. If I want to access the date from it, month from it, year from it, we have a method called getFullYear, getMonth and getDate. So in order to access this, we have a predefined methods. Now let us write a small snippet in order to print today's date. Always remember, the year has 365 days. We have for each and every thing we have 60 minutes, 1 hour, 24 hours and 365 days. In the sense you can calculate in the how you used to perform mathematical operations, in the same way it will try to calculate the values. Here always year will try to give us the 4-digit value. For example, see here I am trying to write console.log. Let me don't write console.log as of now. For example, see here I want to write year in this. I want to get only the year in this. Get full year. Next one, I want to get month in this. Get month. Next one, I want to get date. In the sense we are trying to get the values from it. First one is year. It will try to return the value in the format of 4 digits like 2020. Month in the format of an integer, but it will start from 0 to 11. Date, it will have the values from 1 to 31. 1 to 31. So now if I want to print today's date, I can write something like this. Console.log. What is this? First one, I want to print a date. I can use some concatenation here. Next one, month. Next one is month. Next one is year. Next one is year. If we can see here, we got 8/9/2020, but the today's date is to October. It is displaying as September. For only the month, always we need to append +1 because it will start from 0. So we got date in this format. Now you can understand. First one, date is a built-in object. It contains all the methods and properties, all the components in order to print the date values like date, time, and all these things. Next one, new of date is used to create the date object with current date and time. By default, the JavaScript will try to, in the sense, it will try to have the browser values, in the sense, browser time zone. It will have an Indian Standard Time as we have defined, line number 16. If I want to access each and individual value, we can use getFullYear, getMonth, and getDate. So this is a basic examples. Now we will learn two more things. First one is Date.parse. Whenever we write Date.parse, it means it will try to represent the date and return the number of milliseconds from Jan 1st 1970 to the date what we have mentioned. So let me write some examples so that we can understand. I have written something like this: variable new date equal to date.parse. This is the next method where we are trying to print. For example, I have written something like this: okay, let me write today's date itself directly. October 8th 2020. October 8 2020. Now I want to print this thing. So what will be the value of this? Date.parse will try to return the milliseconds between these two dates, that is January 1st 1970 to October 8th 1920. So let me print out this. Now you got the milliseconds here. For suppose if I want to make sure, I want to understand like what is the count of this milliseconds, in the sense, what is the count of this milliseconds. So can I write something like this? I can convert this milliseconds in the format of minutes, hours, days, years, and we can turn it into the values. For example, see here, I have something like this: variable t is equals to Date.now. It means it will try to print present date, in the sense, see, I have written something like this, and nd, sorry, not nd, it is t. So here it is trying to print today's date. Now we got in this way. Now suppose if I want to make sure, I want to understand like what is the difference between this, these two things. Date.parse, it will try to give us a milliseconds and it will try to convert in this way. Now I want to convert this into the format of years, in the sense, I want to convert this into the form of converting the milliseconds into years. So I can write variable minutes equals to 1000 star 60. Next one, variable hours equals to minutes multiplied by 60. Next one, variable days equals to hours multiplied by 24, because we have 24 hours per day. Now variable years equals to days star 365. So how many days we used to get, we will be multiplying with it. Next one, now we have written, now we have something called nd and something we have years here. So the complete values will be denoted in this 35. Now I want to divide it so that we can get some years. Variable years equals to, what is the value we have here? nd by years. I'm just trying to calculate this value. Let me put this in comments. So this is the difference between January 1st 1970 to October 8 2020. We got some milliseconds here, right? I want to calculate is it the exact years what we are getting now. So let me echo this, let me print this in the console.log yy. if we can see this, we got 50. But in order to get some values, we use a Math.round math function here. Now we will get the exact values. We got 51 years. So if we can see, if we can subtract the values between 2020 to 1970, we will get the exact output. See here, 2020 minus 1970, we got 50. In the sense, it will try to round up the value, so we got 51, nothing more, because it is around 51.8. so as we have given around here, it will go into the next highest value. So this is how we have done with the basics of dates. Now our agenda is, we should able to calculate the age of a person. We should able to calculate the age of a person. So let me write some snippet. First thing, I just want to close this console. I just want to close this console and I want to take an input field here. In the sense, I will take some input field where it should able to get something like this. Let me take some age. I have taken some div here. In this div, I have taken an input field. Input type equals to date. ID is equals to date of birth. ID equal to date of birth. Next one, input type equal to submit. Value equal to calculate age. Value equal to calculate age. So we got an input field here. Yes. So it is trying to take some user input. See here, it is trying to take some user input. We got a button and age. So let me write some small CSS for it so that we can understand. And just to present an UI, I am just using a CSS part here. Age. In order to get everything in the center of the page, I am trying to write the CSS part for this snippet. So we can write the CSS code for this, like display, like align items center, justify content center. See, you can use any of the properties. You can use margin, auto, display block, anything. Next, we got to the center of the page. Next one, I should able to get some curve shapes for this. Input. See, we are not focusing much on this. What is this? We are not focusing on CSS part. Just for the presentation, I am writing it. I am writing some border radius 5 pixel. So if you can see here, we got some border radius here. Height equals to some 40 pixel. You got some 40 pixel. Let me make it out to 30 itself. 30 pixel. Next one, better to keep 20. It looks good. Now I want to write border color green. Just for the presentation part, we are trying to use, we can use hexadecimal values also here. Next one, we got it. Outline. Let me write outline color also green when the user hovers on it. Focuses, if you can see, yes, we got it. Now I can use some other input field. We have input type submit here. We have two attributes here, input type submit. See, if you have same properties, you can place comma here beside this and we can call it as a grouping selector. Let me copy the same thing. We can also use the same properties also. Let me increase the height of this. Let me mention 25 here. Okay, we got it. I want to write color to white, background color to green. So it's enough now. Enough of the CSS. We got it. So we just want to make sure that it looks good, nothing more. And once the user clicks on this, let us understand this. Now let me write this snippet. Let me place everything in the comments now. Let me put everything in this comments. Control Shift tab. Control Shift tab. Okay. We got everything in the comments. Now if I want to make sure I should able to read the value first, so I should able to read this value. In order to read the value, I should able to write variable, first one, variable date. So I will write variable input age equals to document dot get element by id. In the sense I want like to read the value of dob dot value. See, now I want to print this thing. If I write document dot write, it will try to print, but it will not print below to it. See here, now I have written the statements. So when I have written like this, we are not getting it. So I should able to call some function here, calculate age. In order to use this, I am trying to write calculate age. Okay, calculate age, and in order to make sure calculate age, it is done. Now in this we have written like this, but see here, 30th, save, sorry, it is not able to save, nothing more. I have chosen some date here. We didn't get any output here. id equal to dob, yes. Okay, or else let me take something like this. Let me take some id, day of id. Let me print this document dot get element by id of demo dot inner html. In the sense it will try to print in this equals to input age. So whatever the user has selected, inspect, something is there. Okay, let me close this, and I will give some input like this, 7. Yes, we got it. See, now we are able to read this value. You can understand document.getElement by id of dob, it is trying to read the value and it is trying to store in input.age, and we are trying to echo it. But our agenda is we should able to subtract the values between the current date and the user input date so that we can get some age. So what I am trying to do is that let me write something like this. I just let it be. In this we have taken the value here. Now we would parse this age. So variable, okay, variable date equal to date.parse of input age. We are trying to pass this. We are just trying to pass the user date. Next one, we are trying to take now present date. Now in this we are trying to take present date in this. So we have two inputs, first one the user value and next one the current date. Now present date. Now we should able to subtract the values between this. Both date.parse will try to give us some milliseconds, date.now will try to give some milliseconds from 1970. So from 1970 to user date, from 1970 to today's date, we should able to subtract these two values. So what I am trying to do is that variable age milliseconds equals to what is this, nd minus, for example if I write ud minus nd, it will try to give us a negative values. Now I want to print this. In order to print this, see, let me write the same thing here, document dot write, sorry it is not getting right, so let me write age of milliseconds here, age milli. So here if I refresh this, if I am trying to have some values like this, I have written like this, we got some milliseconds. In the sense it is able to convert into milliseconds. But as we have done in this logic, like as we have done with this value, I am just trying to use the same thing. Now here we have variable age is equals to milliseconds and everything. Now I want to convert this in the format of years. I will write age milli because everything is stored in this. Here we are trying to calculate the milliseconds for 1 year divided by the total output, whatever you got. It will try to divide by the total output. See here. So now here we will be writing something like this. Yes. Refresh. For example, I have given my date of birth 1991 March 20. Sorry, it's 20. Okay, it is 03 here. Sorry, first one is month, next one is date. So you got 30 age. So you have got the age as 30 here. So now it is working fine. For example, if I take any other input, let me take some other input now. Okay, we got 28. So it is trying to perform the exactly what we are expecting to do. Now for this P also I will try to write some CSS for some paragraph for this. Text align, center, color green. Okay, now if I refresh this, if I have some input here, 2018 February 30th. Okay, we got 3 years. We got as it is. Now if I want to the output what we are expecting is we got first one. We are trying to read the value here, we are reading the value, we are trying to parse it to the given input value, and we are trying to take today's date, the milliseconds from 1970. It will be from 1970 to 2020. It will be from user date, whatever the user date from 1970 to user date. We will get some milliseconds here, some milliseconds here. We are trying to subtract it and we are trying to divide it by the years so that we can get this one. Now can I print something of like can I print some values related to what I want to print? Everything like years, date, month, seconds, everything. So then what I can write here, we can also write in this way. Here we got variable months equals to yy star. Can I write something like this? Months equals to variable months equals to multiplied, just multiply this value by 12. Next one variable days. How many days he has been? Yy star 365. Next one, if I want to get the milliseconds, sorry, hours, variable hours equals to yy star. Okay, variable what we need to get some hours, right? So milliseconds by hours. So we will try to divide the same thing now. What is the hours we got? Hours is there? Yes, exactly. So already we have defined days here, right? Months is month. I will write month here, day here, hours here. So here we will be writing something like Math.round of what is the milliseconds we have? In the sense milliseconds. Milliseconds is the value what we have written here. Age milli by hours. Hours done. So let me write for this logic. Now we will try to print this. We got age in years, age in days, age in days, age in a days, day. Yes, sorry, we will write month, age in month, next one age in days, age in days. Days is done. Sorry, it is day here. Next one, age in hours. Age in hours. Okay, done. Let us refresh this. Let me take some input from this. We got every value here, but if I want to make sure, I should able to print this value. I should able to print this value in a new line. We can use some break. We can use, for everything we can use some break here. Let me put for every line a break. Now it is done. See, if you want to calculate some other thing like differences, dates, times, if you have any question also, you can just comment it below. Like in the next session we will try to discuss. We will try to solve the same logic. We got 6 years, age 72 months, everything. 1 2 3. So just to get some layout, we can display this in the input fields also. So we got the output as desired. Yes, age in hours. So if you have any queries in this, you can just comment below this video, and you have all the tutorial series from the day 1 of JavaScript, some basics, day 1 and to the topics, whatever we have covered. You can check below the description part of this video. Thank you.